Adab. Welcome back, everybody, to Cricket Tracker's special show in the air. My name is Nivedna Prabhu. We have wrapped up the ODI series, moving on to the exciting format of the T20, the first T20I between Westindies and India. Quickly tell me your predictions and analysis in the comments. And of course, we'll also see where all the action is happening on our screens and continue to talk about this particular exciting, series. Your first वाला जो match है Brian Lara Stadium में होगा in Trinidad, and it's going to be starting at 8 p.m. IST. Abhi to we can see Rohit Sharma on our screens. What does that mean? Well, the OG, the original captain, is back to lead the Indian team. Talking about a very original combination, I'm super glad to have this combination back on the show with me. I have Rakesh Deva Reddy joining me back in the studios. He's a sports commentator as well as the cricket coach. And of course, if you all remember, he's been on a show multiple times giving us his analysis. And the OG combination would be with Pratyay because we know what he also adds to the show. So welcome back to the both of you. Rakesh, I'll start with you. First of all, thank you for coming on Cricket Tracker. Always a pleasure, to be in conversation with you. Let's start off with this exciting T20I series. What is India aiming to do in this particular format?
First of all, I would like to thank you and good to see you both because it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Uh, Coming back to this India versus West Indies, I think both the teams will be looking forward to play some positive cricket because T20 World Cup is ahead, and both the teams are going to play another couple of series before they travel to Australia to play the T20 World Cup. We have already seen a lot of players in terms of India's point of view. We have seen a lot of players getting the opportunities, a lot of youngsters who have really performed in the IPL have got many chances, especially Arshdeep, Surya Kumar, Ishan Kishan, even Sanju Samson made a comeback. There are a lot of other options as well. And the biggest surprise is Deepak Huda, who is doing exceedingly well, even with the ball as well. So that is an extra added advantage. And like you mentioned in the starting, Rohit Sharma is back in the team, Hardik Pandya is back in the team. So I think India will be definitely trying to just whitewash 5-0. On the other hand, West Indies will also look forward to win the series because they have already lost the ODI series. They have lost the ODI series against Bangladesh as well, winning the T20I series. So and West Indies are known for doing very well in this shorter format. So it is definitely going to be a very competitive series for India, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure India is coming up as favorites.
All right, talking about as favorites as well for this format. We'll also get, probably if we have time on the show, Rakesh's personal opinion about the ODI format. Actually, we can get Pratyay's point of view about this. So probably towards the end of the show, we'll see if we can squeeze in some time. Pratyay, I'll come to you. We've of course spoken about the ODI series. We did say Shikhar Dhawan lead the entire team 3-0, great for them. But before we get talking about the T20I series, as usual, we'll have to talk about the weather a little bit. The weather is expected to be a talking point in the matches of the Caribbean. There are chances of a shower that is only later in the days. Pratyay, I'll come to you. We also saw how it impacted the third ODI. Not a great combination, but if it does rain, how does it impact?
Well, you would hope that you get a full match, of course, because we saw that in the third ODI as well. It was interrupted. But India would be very high on confidence because, as I said, 3-0 winning against any team when you are playing away from home, no matter if we know that this is not the West Indies side, which has too many players of the old. But I still think that India was pretty clinical. I think that we would expect to have a full match in front of us. And now that there are certain players returning, I mean, there is Pandya coming back, there is Rohit Sharma returning. So I think with all that combination, I think India is now even more formidable. And the best part about this team is that despite so many players missing, I don't think that any time we have had the first choice players in the last 6 to 7 series, if you see, there has been a lot of chopping and changing because of different reasons, either be it injuries or it be the workload management. The players have been rested as well. But I think despite all of that, what India has managed to do pretty well is that they have kept the momentum high because I think they've lost only one T20I in the last 15 that they have played, and that is
Right.
speaking a lot about what kind of form they have been in. But as we keep on talking about that one event that is almost upon us now, the T20 World Cup. So I think again this is another series to try out and test those combinations because there's a couple of more series that you get, and also not to forget that there's the Asia Cup is coming as well. So I think that this is another kind of a chance to kind of fine tune those things and just kind of get back into the groove before you get into another multinational tournament.
All right. One thing that definitely stands, apart from probably all the other teams currently is the bench strength that Team India is having. we will get talking to Rakesh a little bit about how much of chopping and changing is really good, or it is, of course, talent is there, but to not get the right combination before a high profile event like the T20 World Cup. I'll come to Rakesh about that in a bit. But all of you, tell me, I see a lot of you saying hi. Hi to all of you as well. But tell me, what are your predictions? What are you all looking forward to? And with that, we'll also take a quick look at the stats so we can get you some interesting, stats on this particular show. Let's first take a look at the head-to-head. 20 matches they've played in T20I. 6 West Indies have won, 13 India have won, and no result won. We'll also take a quick look at the approaching milestones to find out what they are, and so all of you can vote as well. If you could take a quick look at that. We have all these names over here. Nicholas Pooran needs one more catch. We have Timo Paul needs to hit 5 more fours to reach 54s. And Brandon King needs 24 runs to reach 500 runs in T20Is. I believe Rohit Sharma needs to hit 6 more fours to reach 1,500 fours, and Ravindra Jadeja needs to take 2 more wickets to reach 50 wickets in T20Is. All right, coming back to this particular game, we're talking about the bench strength. We're talking about so many combinations and comebacks. Talking about comebacks, Rakesh, talk to you a little bit about Shimron Hetmeyer. West Indies is all set to get him back. He's cleared, the fitness grounds as well, whatever he was supposed to be doing for that. Now, is that an added advantage for having services of Maya for West Indies?
I think, yeah, definitely Hetmai's addition will be an advantage. But the thing is, how much he is going to perform, because we haven't seen him playing, if I'm not wrong, after the IPL. And during the IPL, he was playing a finisher role for Rajasthan Royals, and he was very, very successful. But in this particular team, what is the role he is going to play? Because you have Odion Smith, you have Romario Shepherd. So, because when these two are available in the West Indian team, we may not see, or we may see both the players playing in the playing 11. But the thing is, Hetmeyer has to come up in the top order. But how is he going to perform? Is that going to help the West Indies team? Or how much the form he is going to carry, that form, what he has shown in the IPL? Because he has not been playing any professional cricket right after the IPL, but West Indies have already played two series, one in Netherlands and then maybe one or the other one somewhere, and then a series against Bangladesh, and now they're playing against India. So they're all the teams, most of the teams in the international cricket have been playing a lot of cricket. So when you are away from cricket after an injury, passing the fitness test and coming back to the team, and you may not be playing in the same role what you have played in the previous tournament where you have played the last time. So definitely, Hetmai's experience and Hetmai's the way, the positive atmosphere he brings into the team is definitely going to help the team. But how much he is going to help with the bat is something which we have to look forward.
All right. Do you all think that Hetmeyer will be in the scheme of the playing 11? I want to know all your predictions for the playing 11 for both the teams. Tell me that in the comment section. Talking about this particular match, we'll also take a quick look at the players to watch out for, and then I'll come to Pratyay to just give us a quick analysis if he's going with these names as well. Nicholas Pooran, 60 matches, 1,301, highest being 74 not out. From Team India, the player to watch out would be Surya Kumar Yadav, I believe. 19 matches done justice by scoring, amassing 537 runs and that brilliant pop of 170 being his highest score. Pratik, a quick word on both these players. In your opinion, are they the two players to watch out for from the respective teams, or do you have other?
Well, certainly, yes. I mean, if you look at Surya Kumar Yadav, had a great series against England. The ODI is slightly quiet for him by his standards, but I think that he is one of those players who is definitely, I mean, he writes his name on the sheet. So if you're talking about the T20 World Cup, you would rather have him inside your team than on the bench. I think he is definitely one of the players that you are going to have inside your team. As for Nicholas Pooran, I think his captaincy career has been slightly shaky because has not had the best of results. And when you lose those many matches, I think West Indies now losing around 8, 9 ODIs. So that is one format they will have to definitely worry about. But in the near future, which is again the concern is the T20 format, that is one of their stronger suits. And I think in that particular format, it is one of those formats where West Indies players feel a lot more at home. And that is one of those formats where we have always seen them exceeding and succeeding well. So I think in that perspective, I think this is again a good chance for Nicholas Pooran as well to lead from the front because bat has been talking. But his captaincy, I think, because even in the ODIs, if you actually look, West Indies' performance was not as disappointing. But I think the lack of capitalization and execution was what was something that actually ended up hurting them. Because a couple of games, a few things, if they would have managed to capitalize upon, you might as well have seen the scoreline something reading 2-1 in favor of West Indies. Because the previous two games, the first ones to start off with, were two games which actually West Indies had their moments. but they failed to kind of capitalize. It was only in the third game when India kind of just handed them a big thumping defeat. But I think apart from that, if you look, so they had their moments. So it is important for, because in T20 format, things change around very quickly, and you do not have that much time. This is a five-match series. They're playing at home conditions, and I think that the addition of Hetmyer and other players coming in into the West Indies squad, they kind of give them a little bit more solidity as compared to what we saw in the ODIs. From that
Right.
perspective, I think it will be a great chance for Nicholas Pooran and company as well. And I think the near aim of every team right now is, because it's the T20 World Cup year. So I think this is the more important series which actually West Indies would want to win, and would just put the ODIs behind themselves.
All right, and also probably setting the momentum in this format as well probably gives teams confidence as well with the fact that the World Cup is around the corner. Now talking about something Rakesh, that बहुत सारे लोगों ने इसके बारे में बात किया है. Now KL Rahul is not there, so the combination with Rohit Sharma, ideally a lot of the talking is it's Rishabh Pant. First of all, are you convinced with this combination? A lot of people are still not convinced with this. There was a particular statement a few weeks ago stating that maybe he could do what Gilchrist did in red ball and white ball, right? To place him, according to the batting lineup accordingly. What is your personal view? Yay or nay?
So I think I would definitely agree with what India is trying to get the best out of Rishabh Pant, playing him in the opening place. Because if you look at his stats in Test format and ODI format and T20 format, the nature of the game he plays, we end up thinking that T20 format suits best for him. But the numbers, the stats, everything says he's a very good player in red ball cricket, because he has very good stats in Test match format. But the same way, if you look at Rishabh Pant coming at number four, number five, number six, number seven, looking at the current situations, you have Hardik Pandya, you have Dinesh Karthik playing that role, and Dinesh, because India is trying really hard to play Dinesh Karthik in the playing 11, where he comes at the last 4 or 5 overs, and
Yeah.
change the course of the game. And you have Hardik Pandya doing exceedingly well, and they don't want Rishabh Pant to be sitting outside. So definitely they need these three players in the team, and how can they accommodate? But if KL Rahul comes into the team and looking at the form, because KL Rahul is going to play another couple of series after this series, because we are not seeing him very unfortunately because of COVID. But right now, looking at the situation, trying Rishabh Pant in the opening spot along with Rohit Sharma is the best option, and is the best place where Rishabh Pant can really express himself, because that is where he can actually play very fluently. And because of the captaincy he has got with the Delhi Capitals, uh,
Right.
the mindset, the way he approaches the T20 format, it has completely changed, because there are a lot of factors which changes as your career goes on. So right now, I think Rishabh Pant is the best option, because if you bring in Ishan Kishan at number along with Rohit Sharma, then it is again going to be a difficult thing where how you accommodate or which position Dinesh Karthik, Hardik Pandya has to bat, because Akshar Patel is really doing well, and then if Jadeja is fit, he is an automatic pick in the playing 11. So India is having a lot of positive problems picking the playing 11.
So that is so. According to you, this is a good opportunity for Rishabh Pant also to kind of show what he's capable of in that spot. Or what do all of you think? Tell me that in the comment section about Pant and Rohit Sharma's combination for Team India. Dusri taraf, talking about the toss, West Indies have won the toss and opted to bowl first. I'll come to you, Pratyay, about the toss. Is that something smart? They were probably looking to chase instead, probably the combination that they probably go for.
See, in this format, it's always better if you kind of have the idea of the target, and also looking at what kind of ground conditions there are. Because if there are rain interruptions that are going to happen, you always want to be on the chasing side, because you can assess the situation a lot better. And setting a target becomes slightly more difficult when you are, in the midst of rain interruptions. But I think this is actually a good challenge for India, because we have seen them thriving in the chases. But what has been a cause of a concern for them in the recent past is that they have not managed to defend totals as well. And I think
Right.
when you go into big tournaments, you know that toss is something which is absolutely out of your control. And suddenly, if you have to, if you are put into a situation where you have to bat first, you need to know that how have you got the if you have the elements to kind of defend those targets. So I think that it is actually important for India to try and perhaps even deliberately try to set totals and perhaps try to defend them, because chasing is something we know that India has been doing since years and they are kind of masters at it. But defending is where actually they kind of lack. So I think this is again a good chance for them to kind of try and put a big total on the board and then try to defend it.
All right. So, this is the toss update, but we'll also get a quick word on what the captain has said. Nicholas Puran has said going to bowl first. Maybe there's something in the pitch. Nice to know what you're chasing, exactly what Pratyay said. Looking forward to the series. We enjoy the format. We like to entertain. One spinner, Alzari Joseph making his debut. Shimran Hetmeyer back into the team. Okay, that is on the West Indies front. India ke baare mein, and of course the playing 11 combination ke baare mein, we'll come to that in a bit. But before that, let's dive in to see what the player battles are looking like for both the teams, and who are the players who will be battling it out. If we could take a look at that on our screens. King versus Bowie, 14 runs, 2 dismissals. Do we have another player battle in store for us? I believe we have Surya versus Shepherd, 28 runs, 1 dismissal. Rakesh, a quick word. Which one would you personally look forward to out of these two player battles?
See, in both the battles, I think India will definitely dominate because the way Indian players are playing, they look so, what do you call? They look like they actually can play very well. Whoever the bowler is, even Joffer Archer comes right now and bowls to Indian players. They are definitely going to dominate. It looks like that.
All right, so it's going to be an action-packed series, or rather, a match is probably the word coming in from our studios. But we'll find out outside of our studios what's happening on social chatter. Let's take a quick look at all the tweets that are doing the rounds and find out what everybody's talking about this particular match. Sanju Samson has been added to India's T20I squad against Westindies for social chatter that we have. KL Rahul this year in T20I hasn't played any T20I this year for India. Right, most runs in India versus the West Indies T20I games is skipper Rohit Sharma, 585 from score. All right, talking about that update, Sanju Samson, coming in. I'll come to you, Rakesh, on that. But before that, I'll ask you, Pratyay, that the fact that of course we know injury and COVID is just not in anybody's control, but the fact that a seasoned player like KL Rahul, not having him play all these tours and then looking at him in the scheme of things for the T20 World Cup 2020. Fair, not fair? How does one look at this situation?
Yeah, I think it's certainly unfortunate because as we saw that he has missed out on quite a few games, and you want, I mean, no matter how good or bad a player you are, if you are out of the field, if you are not in touch with the game, then it kind of starts to hamper you a little bit. So you know that it's kind of a race against time because there are not too many games that India is going to play. Apart, if you take out the Asia Cup, there's 3 ODIs against Zimbabwe. We'll have to see whether KL Rahul would be a part of those. But if you're strictly speaking about T20I cricket, there are not too many games that India now has because he has missed out on quite a few. But we saw him, I mean, the way he led Lucknow in the IPL, the way he batted in the IPL, I think his personal form at the moment does not look like a concern if you are relying upon the IPL to kind of gauge what kind of form he is in. But I still feel that game time will be important for him because you're going to go to Australia. This is not a World Cup which is happening in your backyard, that you will feel a lot more at home. And we have seen India, I mean, 2021 was one of those World Cups that India did not manage to exceed. I mean, a couple of losses. The problem with these kind of tournaments is exactly that you do not have a lot of time. I mean, a couple of slip ups and you're probably out of contention. So I think that in that scheme and in that perspective, it is important that all the players have enough game time behind them. But I think no matter what happens, I mean, KL Rahul, if he is fit, there is no chance that you're not going to play him. So if he is fit, then he is definitely going to be a part of the team. But we can just hope that he gets full fitness and kind of tries to play as many games as possible in the lead up to the World Cup.
All right, now talking about the T20 World Cup and also these combinations, which I want to come to you about, Rakesh. We were talking initially about this stopping and changing and getting the combinations right. Now we also have Sanju Samson. Everybody wanted to see Sanju get an opportunity as well. Your first quick thought about Sanju Samson being added, of course, a great talent is what is probably due credit. But दूसरी तरफ, with the T20 World Cup around the corner, what is your combination looking like as well? Does Sanju fit in the team? Tell us all. What do you think?
So I think if you look at the recent times where India is playing the T20 formats, India is having a lot of options in terms of batting and in terms of fast bowling department, spinners as well. But when it comes to the playing 11, if we really look into it, we are actually missing the sixth bowling option. We have found Deepak Huda, who can actually bowl off spin, and he has actually bowled in West Indies as well. If the combination of if you want me to tell the combination which can be in the playing 11 for the T20 World Cup, I'm pretty sure Virat Kohli will be there in the playing 11, because you definitely need the experienced player when you're playing in those surfaces where the ball is bouncing coming on to the body line and all. So he'll be definitely there. Rohit Sharma will be there. KL Rahul will be there, and then Rishabh Pant will be there. Hardik Pandya will be there. Surya Kumar Yadav will be there, and then there's another option. If these are the players who are playing, India is going to have a lot of depth where Dinesh Karthik has to bat at what number 8 or something like that, and Bumrah will be there. Bhuvneshwar will be there. You have Jadeja, you have Akshar, who is really doing well. Everybody looks so good, but who are those players who can fit in the playing 11? With that sixth bowling option is going to be very crucial. So putting that in mind, I think Deepak Huda's performance in the coming series is definitely going to be one thing which we have to watch out for, because he's actually bowling well. Because you never know when Hardik is going to get injured, because he's an injury prone guy. And then Jadeja is not actually fit with his fitness as well. We never know when he's going to get injured. So two prime all-rounders of the Indian team, if they are injury prone, then you definitely have to have an option who can actually give you some bowling. Because earlier when we saw Indian team like Ganguly used to bowl, Sehwag used to bowl, Sachin used to bowl, Yuvraj Singh used to bowl, whoever was there, they used to give you at least 1 or 2 hours. But right now, if an Indian team is playing, there are only five bowling options. So
Right.
India have to make sure that they are having that sixth bowling option, because you can't rely on Hardik Pandya on every game where he can come up and bowl 4 overs. So I think that is one biggest concern. Even after having these many options, you can have like 50 players who can fit into the team right away.
Correct. I
So
mean, that's a bench strength, and like Pratyay says, the problem of plenty, the headache of plenty, is definitely going on for Team India. But a quick word, Pratyay, if you would like to comment on how Sanju Samson has come into the scheme of things now, because opportunity-wise he deserves it. But do you still think he's going to struggle for a particular spot for the T20 World Cup?
See, I think he has been a curious case. I mean, we know what kind of a batter he is. There's no dearth of talent in him. Probably has every shot in the book, and I think he does not play even a single shot in anger. If you look the way he bats, it is so pleasing to the eye. So there is nothing that Sanju Samson does not have. Perhaps the only problem with him has been that he has not been able to marry his form with consistency. Because I think no matter how talented you are, to succeed and to just kind of stay in this particular Indian team, which is loaded with players at the moment. Like even right now, when Rakesh was pointing out, I did not find even one player who does not deserve to be in the team. But still, you have to go with only 11 on the ground. So I think that when the competition is that high, it becomes very important for you. And suddenly, I mean, look at I keep on saying Deepak Huda, because the reason is that he was not in the scheme of things as just back as perhaps 3 months ago. So you never know when suddenly a player would just pop up and will kind of put your place into jeopardy in the team. So I think from that perspective, it is extremely important now that KL Rahul is out. Sanju Samson has gotten this chance. We have seen him. I mean, he has not played a lot of international cricket, but I think that whatever cricket that he has gotten a chance to play in, he has not been able to do as much justice as we all expect him to do with his performance or do with his talent. So if he can marry that form and consistency thing, then I believe that he's one of the best players, because I think he is a certain match winner. On his day, there is no bowling attack which can actually stop him. So from that perspective, there's no question on his caliber whether he deserves to be in the team or not. Certainly he does. But the fact is that you have to understand that, can you place him with the current combination? Can you fit him in the scheme of things? For that, he has to push the door, and these are all great chances for him. So if he can do that, you might as well see him in the playing 11 for the World Cup as well.
All right, all of you tell me, what do you think is the apt playing 11 team combination for India for the T20 World Cup 2022? Let me quickly get thoughts on the discussion that's happening, in the cricketing world right now about ODI. Okay, we have, of course, just wrapped an ODI series. Rakesh, I'll come to you first. There's a statement that Ravi Shastri also made that when they played the World Cup, it was 60 overs and it was reduced to 50. Now he believes it should be 40. Some of the opinion that it's just dying altogether. What is your take? And then I'll come to
I don't think we'll see 50 over format just vanishing all of a sudden. We will definitely see 50 over format surviving. ICC will definitely come up with something or the other thing where it can be made a little more excited. The other thing is because very genuine cricket lovers, they are ready to watch the cricket for 5 days. And the people who want the fun part, they are going to watch T20 format. But the 50 over is in between, where it is not neither red ball or white ball. So I heard, I was discussing with some of the legends during the commentary strings as well. For a few
Yeah,
of them were saying, okay, why can't we play the ODI format with a pink ball? Can you try that? And the other people say, like how Sachin used to say very earlier, used to say, why don't you put it as two innings per innings like that? So there are
yeah,
a lot of options, or maybe try to only play with the top six teams, like how Ravi Shastri and the other has pointed out, saying if you want to make sure the test cricket is survived, only the top team should play. Maybe that thing is also an option where you can play the 50 over format. And the other important thing is just T20 World Cup is around the corner. We are more worried, we are more focused, and more discussions are on T20 format. But once the T20 World Cup is done, then you have a 50 over World Cup. So then again, everybody will be focused more on 50 over format. Each nation will be traveling here and there. And the other option also, there's another option where you can put three teams, four teams playing together instead of bilateral series. So there are multiple options. Just that you have to take the opinions of experts and everybody and see how can it be sustained for long term, because this
right.
is
And
not something where you take a decision and say, okay, put it as two innings or make it 40 overs or use the pink ball or something like that. You have to think about the roadmap about long term as well, because if you're taking something, it has to be in a long term.
yeah, because I think Ajay Jadeja was also of the opinion that ultimately it's also in terms of the amount of money that broadcasters are also making, and he believes that T20Is of course have got a lot more popularity, and he had the statement saying जो काम 3 घंटे में हो जाएगा 7 घंटे के लिए अभी किसके पास वक्त है, right? I mean that's one way to look at it. But Rakesh, you can tell me which is your favorite format of cricket? Is it Test, ODI, or T20?
For me definitely test format, because that is where you can actually because being I've played enough good cricket, not at the highest level. So definitely people who have played professional cricket, even if they have left the cricket, they would definitely love to play the test format, because there itself it tests your batting skills, it tests your technique, it tests your mental ability. It allows you to change the decisions accordingly, and it makes you to actually do everything. But going with the trend, yeah, T20 format, it is definitely fun watching and playing as well. But if you ask me as a genuine cricket lover, and I would definitely go with test format.
All right. So the real test of a cricket lover is the test format. Satya, before we dive into the play 11, would you like to give me a quick word, your personal take on this entire ODI conversation that is happening?
See, I think there's no doubt. I mean, in the post-COVID era, we haven't seen that much ODI cricket as we were seeing in perhaps before that. So there's no doubt that it is one of the formats which has kind of taken a backseat. I don't
Yeah.
think it is going to die just so simply because ICC has already defended that, and I don't think that you can just do away with that format so easily. Of course, you can perhaps have lesser attention towards it and more towards Test cricket and T20Is, because in the recent past, what we have also seen is that the scheduling of the series has been that you have seen perhaps two Test matches and five T20Is being played. There are no ODIs, which is something we did not used to see so much back often, say even 4 or 5 years ago. So it is one of the formats which is on the back foot. But I still think there's a World Cup coming in 2023, which is definitely going to keep it alive. And as Rakesh said a very correct point. It's a hybrid of T20 and Test cricket. So the kind of things that you have, because T20 cricket is too fast paced, before you can perhaps get too many things into your mind, the game is already over. Test cricket, of course, we all love it, but it's perhaps a longer format, and with the attention spans of people getting shorter and shorter every day, perhaps not every it is not the format which is most suitable for an ideal average Indian viewer or an ideal average cricket viewer in across
Right.
the globe. So I think from that perspective also, ODI cricket is one which kind of just blends these two formats really well. But if you're talking about the format, I think having watched these three ODIs in the recent past, just against the West Indies, I personally never felt like that ODIs are getting boring. It's perhaps that impression has been created because we have stopped seeing ODI cricket because it's not happening. Once they start to happen, and once you start watching them again, you will start to realize that it's as interesting a format as any. So for me, ODI cricket is definitely a yes, and I don't think it's going to die as soon.
All right, you
Let
never
me
know.
add one point here. Let me add one point here. And even the 50 over format, if you look at the way how players are playing,
Yeah.
they are playing first 10 overs or 15 overs as T20, and they're playing the middle overs as if they are playing a test format where they don't want to lose the wickets. And after 35, then they're actually playing it as T20 format where we see players play it as last 4 overs or 5 overs. That is the reason why 300 plus runs are easily chaseable in 50 over format. If you go back maybe 5 years before, it was so tough to chase 300. Very few teams used to chase 300. But right now, 300 is something very easily chaseable. If at all, if you're scoring 350 plus 370, that is where you can actually say, okay, batting first is safer. So 50 over is not going to die very soon. There will be definitely some changes might come up, but like how Pratyay said, just because of T20 World Cup, because we have seen a T20 World Cup in 2021 or 2021, and we are seeing it very soon. So there is no gap where we can actually see a lot of 50 over. But as soon as this T20 is done, definitely the focus will be more on 50 over format. But the viewership might be less than T20 format. That is definitely sure.
So basically, the ODI is a khichdi of the all the formats put together. दूसरी
Yeah.
तरफ maybe the BCCI should get an IPL for the 50 over format. क्या ही पता interest खुद वापस आ जाए. You never know if that's one of the ways to look at it. Hey, I just got an idea. Maybe if anybody from would want to take that down. But quickly before we wrap up, let's take a quick look at the playing 11 combinations that both the teams have gone for, and then we can wrap. Rakesh, these are the two playing 11 combinations that the teams have gone for. If you could quickly summarize this for us, a good combination.
I think both the teams are going with a very nice combination. Even West Indies having McCoy left armour, whereas Arshdeep is there with India, and Odian Smith, Jason Holder coming back with his deceptive bowling can actually trouble Indian players. Just that Nicholas Puran, if he can come up with little bit good batting, I think West Indies can actually trouble India. Whereas India's point of view, I think they are going with one leg spinner, and the good addition is Ravichandra and Ashwin. I thought instead of Ashwin, Akshar comes, and instead of Shreyas, Huda would have come, but they have
Right.
managed to bring in one off spinner because West Indies has all three left-hand batters, which is definitely Ravish Chandra and Ashwin will be enjoying. And Ashdeep addition is a very good addition, but still I would say 55 percentage of chances to India and 45 to West Indies.
All right, so I don't even have to ask Rakesh what he's looking forward to in terms of the combination, in terms of prediction as well. On that very note, we are also, of course, running out on time and we want all of you to enjoy the game. So we're going to wrap up this edition of Trick Tracker's special show in the air. An absolute pleasure, like I said in the beginning of the show, to always to be in conversation with both Pratyay and Rakesh Deva Reddy only on Trick Tracker. So don't forget to join us as we join you once again about the post-match analysis of the first T20I between West Indies versus India only on Trick